Here we are. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being there. Oh my God. Let me see the audio. As always, turning on the monitor there just to see what's going on. All right, yeah, there it is. So it's all good. I'm gonna lift up the volume just a little bit because I feel like lately it's been a bit. Do you feel like the volume's a bit low? I don't know. It's my maybe it's just me, but I feel like the audio is a bit low sometimes. Let me see. Let's see if I can adjust this thing a little bit. And while I hear it over there, let me see. Let's see if I can. Well, I have this thing, this noise, upward compression. Oh, there's the limit to that. Oh, I don't know if I should. Should I go with the limiter up? Should I go with the output gain up a little bit, just a tiny bit? Let's see how it goes. What if I start talking there? Does it feel like it's too loud? Does it feel like if I speak there, do you feel like it's a bit or is it fine? Let's see. You let me know there in the chat if you feel like I'm going a bit too overboard with this. Let's see. I think that's okay. It's about a 20. I think we're okay there. But yeah, we'll see. If you feel like it's too loud or that maybe, I don't know, something's wrong, you let me know, please. I'm going to trust you on that. And yeah, I'm sorry about the wait. I had to, literally, I was ready to come in. And I knocked the matter. Luckily, it didn't fall like off the table. It fell like on the table, but it spilled the share or like all the contents on the floor. And luckily it didn't fall, because I would be very worried for this thing breaking, but it's very beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. It's very beautiful. But yeah, luckily it didn't break, it didn't fall, it didn't get to the ground, so I'm very glad that's the case. Yeah, that was a close one, but yeah, it happens. Uruguayans, we're used to it, and yeah, that's what can you do? And yeah, today we have oh wait, well, talking about Uruguay, tomorrow in Uruguay is the Constitution Day. It's a pledge to the Constitution, basically. Basically, it's in 1830 when we blessed our constitutions. We adopted our first constitution in Uruguay. It's a fairly young country, right? 1830, and but yeah. So tomorrow is going to be holiday in Uruguay, which is interesting. And yeah, so happy 18th of July to all my compatriots. All right, let's get to business. Let's do let's go in. All right, audio's fine. I think it's okay. Let's go in and do some coding. I'm gonna close this thing up. No, don't switch this. Oh my god. Yeah, this is okay. There you go. Yeah, let's close that up. And let's open this up. So tonight we are going to be using the regular Rogue engine because yeah, I found some problems with the current one in some parts there, and I'm trying to solve them. So it's a bit broken. So I'm going to be using the current one. I took advantage of the situation where, yeah, the thing is, I was fixing some of the problems that we found, and yeah, I couldn't like just pick up the a version that I could trust enough to bring in live. So tonight we're going to just be using a regular Rogue engine. All right. But yeah, I was fixing some of the problems that we found, and I think that's gonna help us a lot in the future. But yeah, tonight we're just not gonna be able to use that version. But yeah, if you're there, just say hello in the chat. Say where you're watching from. And yeah, I see Boomer was here. Boomer was here at least. I don't know, Boomer, you're still here. But hello, Boomer. And yeah, if you're there, just say hello. We're streaming both on Twitch and on YouTube. So yeah, thank you for being there. All right, so let's go to the screen. Head to the screen. All right, here we are. Yeah, you're gonna see your chats over here. You're gonna see your comments here. So yeah, don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right, let's start with the mate. Our mate today is it's the second time I put it together. Yeah, some of it was ready there, stock in there. So luckily I could salvage some of it. But yeah, so it's gonna be a bit of a mate that I've just put together, kind of like that, yeah. In a so-so way, but something I can trust. Okay, so where were we? Yeah. So last time we had this problem with the touch. Remember that we couldn't use this like this. We're having a problem with this. Doing this. Sorry, this.x. It was telling us like we were trying to access an undefined here, even though we were using the question mark. Apparently, it doesn't work when we're doing it this way, but it works when we do it this way. That makes no sense. Absolutely no sense to me. But I don't know. This is it, and so we're just grabbing the touch 0 like that, and we're just using the question mark there, to say if there's a touch, then use X, and yeah, otherwise use the mouse X, and the same with the otherwise 0, right? The same with the mouse Y. That's what we're doing, right? So yeah, that's it. Something else I changed is I used the view select, get down view select, because previously we had input mouse that is left button down, but that is just for the mouse, right? So this will work also with a touch, with the touch. So if you're touching with the any touchpad or something, it's gonna touch screen is gonna work. So that's a good thing, right? Yeah. View select, by the way, is a predefined. Let me show you. If you come to Window Input Manager, here you'll see that you have move, look, jump, fire, and then you have view select. You see, so you do view.select. This is like a subgroup. Right, this is the all the defaults. You can just write as move, look, jump, fire. So that's how you would write them, right? Just like this, just like move, jump, something like that. But this one, since it's within, it's defined as view.select. That's how it's defined. It just means that it's a group, right? View is the group, the parent group, and it will separate them in this way, right? So you can have view select, view drag, something like that, and you can have a bunch of different view related inputs, right? So we write view dot select like that, and that's our input, right? Which is the mouse 0, or tapping the screen, and yeah, and we should definitely, like I said before. This is something I'm looking into, how to turn this into. I'm trying to put this in the pick method without breaking it. It's gonna be tough. Definitely. I may break some codes. I'm not happy about it. Yeah, but yeah, I'm thinking about something like pick. Like or so just say raycast or something like that. Yeah, and just return the raycast itself, because let me show you something we could do, right? Is say raycast. This is a like more or less what we could do, right? It's just kind of what input, the re.pick does, right? re.pick, right? It takes the targets, right? Which is in this case would be the where is it? Where are they? Would be our no, where are they? Where are our targets? The floors here, right? So we'd use the floors here, right? For instance, here, right? Instead of doing the intersection and all that part, right? So one thing we could do, right? Because the pick, for instance, is getting the coordinates, doing all this stuff, and so what we could do is have a raycast function that does sort of what the pick does, and basically it would do all of these for us, right? We'd get the targets, and targets would be 3 object 3D, and we could then do coordinates. Well, all of these, right? We could just grab all of these, yeah, and we could grab the floors as the floors we are getting from here, and then what we do is we get the intersections and we return something like that, So I'm just gonna pick this function basically and use this in the in the official version. So this would be, what is it? Floors, targets. Oh, sorry. Yeah, targets is an array. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we have the coordinates, and yeah, we're setting up a raycaster. I have a raycaster already set up there in the pick. So the pick has there's like a global raycaster that I use for these sorts of things, and I just pick that raycaster and use it and reuse it every time I use the pick. So it's always there, and even if you use it like in many methods, that's why it's also a pretty good thing, because it's not like a raycaster that you set up in one specific class. It's a raycaster that is used in your whole project. So these sorts of functions are also very good in as a memory savers in a way, right? They help you save some memory. If you have like a bunch of places where you're using raycasters and you have like one raycaster in your whole project, that's much better, right? So yeah, you can just grab the same raycaster and just move it around and do things with it. So yeah, then we have that's the best. I think that's the best, 100% the best way to handle these things. Yeah, and now what we do is simply we return this, right? We return whatever comes out of this, which can be an array of intersections. It will be an array of intersections, basically. So I think that's much better than what we're doing with pick, because pick just returns like the first pick. It's okay, I guess, as I think that, okay, you give me a bunch of targets, I'm just gonna pick one with a mouse. But it's picking the target. It's not really giving you like, okay, what's the one, like, what if there's something behind it, and I want to know what's behind it as well, and which part of that object have I picked on, things like that. So having a function that I can use it like this, I think it's so much better, because think about it. Now I can just do, we can just delete all this. We can delete this. Well, do you have set from camera there? Yeah, we have that. Right, and now instead of doing this, now we have raycast, this dot raycast, right, and we do floors, and there you go. Now we have a much smoother operation here, right? Imagine if this was inside a Rogue Engine, and now just say, okay, I need to raycast this object, just you don't have to set up your raycaster, anything like that. The raycaster will use the right camera, and maybe I could, give you like a option here to set up a camera. Otherwise, it's going to use the camera, the regular camera. Or otherwise, if you need a more custom thing, you just use a raycaster, a regular raycaster. You have the option, but this is like just to make things easier, I guess. Yeah, you could pass in a camera, say, optionally like this, say 3 camera, and here we say, yeah, it's using a camera, no perspective or anything. So we say camera or re the runtime, the camera, and yeah, and that will help. In fact, we could do re dot app dot camera. Sorry, dot app dot scene controller dot camera, because this is the current scene controller. So this will work. Raycast in this case will work even in the editor, right? So while you are in the editor, Raycast will work now as well. So that's pretty cool, I think. Yeah, in edit mode, I guess. I mean, not just while you're playing. So that's fantastic. Okay. Yeah, you just don't have to write all this code, just decluttering of your classes. Look how much decluttered this looks, right? This looks so much. Oh, that's nice. Something I love is deleting code. When you can just delete code, it just feels so nice. It feels so good. You wouldn't even need these, right? Just remove it. Just go away. Just remove it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. Okay. Yeah. Well, the most satisfying things, I think, is deleting code, probably. But yeah, so what did we have previously? Let's see. Let's come in here. So we could. Oh yeah, I removed the barrack. But yeah, we have a barrack here. So we're just gonna bring in the barrack, and basically, it's going to instantiate. Wait. Why is it so tall? Okay. That's where it should be. I don't know why it was so tall. Yeah, that's what it should be. So let's move it a bit to the center there, because I don't like where it is. There it is. Yeah, there it goes. So what we have is this barrack thing. This sort of I think we could call it teleported, like it was called in the other one. And the idea behind is that we just hit play, and it creates the enemies there. It creates our friendly minions there, and now the enemy minions will come in and they will fight, right? And we can move around the spawn point. But the idea is that these minions should come and like move to wherever the spawn point is, right? So we should do our recalculation to where the spawn point is, and you see how it's actually bringing in new minions. Every time one dies, it spawns another one. You see, it spawns another one, and it keeps spawning minions. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. What else do we need here? What else do we need here? Yeah, let's do that. Nobody there today, by the way, other than Boomer was here. I think we have someone on Twitch, but I think it's just my monitor here on YouTube. So it's a lonely day here. It's a lonely day on YouTube, lonely YouTube day. It's gonna be cathartic, and yeah, just gonna enjoy myself. Just gonna do this thing. All right. So what are we doing here? So we're just checking every frame that our minions are. We're gonna create a method called remove dead minions. Yeah, and this is what this is going to do, right? So we're going to do that, and remove dead minions. And this, what else is this doing? It's saying spawn minions. Let's create another one. Spawn minions. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just bring this in here. Let's call this spawn minions. Yeah. And just reorganizing our code a little bit from the beginning this time, because we have a more clear idea of what we're doing. So it's nice to just reorganize it. And let's do this one is called what is it? This one will be move spawn point. There it is. Move the spawn point, and yeah, there it is. Move spawn point. There it is. So there you go. Now we have a pretty clean update method where we know, exactly what we're doing in which order. We have the move dead minions. We have the spawn minions, and we have the move spawn point, so that we can move it around and decide to put our minions somewhere else to bring them together, assembly in a certain position. Assemble in a certain position, I guess. I don't know. I can't speak today, I guess. But yeah. Okay. So we're cleaning things up. We're spawning them. We're moving the spawn point. Now, when we move the spawn point, we also want our minions to move to that place. So we need to tell them to move there. But we need to tell them where to move. So we need to give them a waypoint. We're not really telling them to move to the position of the spawn point. What we're telling them is to move, or what we should tell them is to move to the position that like to the I'm sorry, I can't think today. To move to the position that we're going to calculate, that is going to be part of that random spread. Sorry. Why? Well, because you see how here we are getting the spawn point, right? So the spawn point that we're getting here is related to the spawn point itself, right? To the actual object that we're using as spawn point. See this object here. This is the spawn point get world position, right? So what we do is we get its position, and then we move our object around, and we look how where are the other minions, right? We look at the distance to those minions, and then we decide, okay, can we be positioned there or not? And that's what we do. Now, there's a problem with this. There is an issue with this. And the issue, I think, is that we really won't know if we're going to be too close or not. That's another that's a problem, isn't it? Yeah, because so this shouldn't be related to the current position of the minions, but to the current position of the spawn points, right? Because think about it this way, like, okay. Yeah, let's bring it, let's play so you can see. So our minions here, they are they're gathering around this, right? So this is selecting the random positions here, right? And now when we move this, it's going to check for the distance between them, not the distance between the new positions that it has calculated. So it's a different sort of thing we need to do. What we need to check, what we need to have is a list of like waypoints, and decide if they're going to be ending up in the same place as us, right? So we need to decide our position related to the target position of all the friendlies, right? Not to the position they are currently in, right? We don't care where they are in right now. We care about where they are going to move to, right? So we will pick our position you know, in that way. So how do minions work in that regard? Like how do minions do that? Well, let's remove this comments, because remember we had done this. This is the reason I really hate comments, is because comments tend to just remain there and stay there for a while. Yeah, we just know the minion is dead and that's it. So yeah, we should probably put that in a do a method here called should call it maybe because we're checking if the minion is dead, and we're running the death animation. So we're doing like the whole death animation, I guess. But how should we call this? I'm thinking a name for this, just to keep it organized. Yeah, we'll think about it. I don't know the name of it right now, but yeah. Oh, we have Quasi Dev here saying, I'm thinking about making an MMORPG, but I think Three.js wouldn't be the best choice for this project. Well, tell me why. I can tell me why. Why do you think it wouldn't be Three.js wouldn't be? Because there are legitimate reasons, right? Why Three.js wouldn't be. I think sometimes people think they think about something like, okay, there are certain myths going on around about what Three.js is, what it cannot do, and why it is a good decision. What is a good choice or not. That it's not really legitimate in the sense that, if you look into the problem, it's really not a problem for Three.js. But yeah, it depends really. It depends on your project. It could be legitimately not good for your project. But tell me why do you think it's not a good fit? And yeah, and if we'll talk about that, right? In general, I think people have told me, oh, I don't think it's a good fit. It happens that, hey, maybe, well, those things are actually or myths or misconceptions or things like that, right? So yeah, let me know why. Why do you think that's the case? And we can talk about it. So yeah, let's go for I'm looking for where here, right? So we're selecting the state attack or move, right? If we have a state of move, but we have enemies, this means that's just going towards the enemy. When we're close to target, close to attack range, we start attacking, right? This is like, in this case, we only have like close range enemies, so and we just have close range minions, so they're going to just be fighting each other, and at very close range. So they're going to be moving most of the time, going towards the target until they actually reach the enemy, and they're just going to fight then. If the enemy moves, they're just going to run behind it. They won't just keep punching in the air. That's the idea, right? So this is why we have a state machine here, a state machine selection. And then we have, when there's no enemies, right, we're just going to move current waypoint, move, right? And yeah, we check if there's a current waypoint. So if there is a current waypoint, we move. And this is a problem because our waypoints are objects. I'm not a fan of this. Okay, let's go with this just for one reason, for one simple reason. We're going to be using one bear object, and it's going to help us create this how do you call them? Yeah, it's going to help us with the vector math and all these things, right? Because usually we can do vector math much easier using objects, because we know like what's the distance between this object and the other one and all that. You know, well, we can do that just with vectors, but there are many other things that we can do with objects themselves. We can use rotation, we can use orientation, all these things that we can do if the waypoint is an object. So let's do that. Let's say that waypoint is an object. So we use empty object 3ds as waypoints. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here to the spawn tower. I didn't save this. Oh my god, how unsafe of me. Going about without prophylactics. Oh, I see the Quasi just answered. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna answer your question now. I'm gonna read you a comment now. I'm sorry, just a second there. And so first, let's see. So we're getting the spawn point, and yeah, we're telling the minion to move to that place. So maybe, okay, so maybe what we do is we can do that from the very start, actually. Because now when we're instantiating our minions, right, we're just instantiating them in place, wherever they should be going to, right? But we're not really making them move there. So if we made the teleporter thing if we made them go from the teleporter, you know, sort of move towards that place, we could have the same, like the functionality, the exact functionality that we need. So that could also work, right? That would be interesting. Yeah. Okay. Let's see the comment here. Quasium Dev saying, I think it can't work well when under stress. Something like 200 players in the same place. I intend to have 1,000 players per channel, and in times of stress, around 200 in the same place. I could be wrong. Well, it depends. You can certainly have 200 objects in the same place. Right, so you can have 200 objects in one place, right? And you can look at 200 objects. You can look at way more than 200 objects at the same time. It depends on, are you looking to make, because there are two things here, right? You're considering, the problem with this is, what's your consideration? Is it about network, or is it about graphics? Because if it's about graphics, it's about and scripts, and the amount of scripts that are running, right? The amount of code that is running at the same time. It depends on the scope of your game, right? So it's not dependent on the networking itself, right? Because if it's about networking, you'll have the same problem with any other engine, any other system. You could have the same problem with Unity. You can have the same problem with Unreal. You're certainly going to have that issue of having so many players in one place. Now, the issue is, are these players boxes? So you can have way more, you can have thousands of boxes just moving around, right? That's one thing. You want to have like AAA graphics with, you know, all these things going around. Well, you can't make any AAA game probably with Three.js. It's not the scope of it. The idea with Three.js is that you can make a game that, if you keep it in a certain scope of, you know, graphically, you can make it run on most devices with a modern browser. So imagine this, right? Instead of having you know, you're not going to get GTA 5 graphics, or probably you could, but it's going to be limited in the amount of things you can do. I mean, it's going to limit you to, or it's going to force you to go through certain procedures, like very big optimization procedures, and some of these things may limit you in your liberty to do certain things. Like for instance, you would maybe need to bake all the lights, like all the lighting would need to be baked, and that will make it look amazing, but it will also make it, it'll limit you in, like, it's going to complicate it when moving around shadows and lights and all these things. It's going to look weird. So yeah, that's one of the things, one of the issues that you may face, like night-day cycles, things like that, if you want to do those things. Now, for most games, from like I think 99% of games, if you've been making games for a while, you know that it's you want them to work in the most varied amount of devices. Three.js in that case is a great option, because you know that however it works on one browser in the worst device, it's going to work 10 times better in the best device, and it's going to be available just a click. So I think that makes a great option. Now, depends on what you want for your game. Like if you have like a studio with a bunch of people who can make incredible things, graphically, and you want to go for Steam and that's your thing, okay, I want a game that I'm going to install in my computer that is going to be running, on high-end devices and things like that. Well, then, it's just, yeah, Three.js is not going to help you with that. It says, I think the problem would be graphics themselves. I don't know if I can get the same rendering optimizations as Unity has, but I'm not a Unity expert. Well, the thing is, if this is your first game, right? If this is your first game, this is the first thing you're making, or if this is like a because you're saying that you're not a Unity expert, so I don't know like what's your previous experience with game engines and things like that. But it depends a lot. Like if this is your first game, I'll focus on using the things that you know to make one little game. Like that's what I tell anyone who asks, I want to make my first game. Just make one little game. Make one little game. Something very simple and stupid. And just get a feel of different engines. Make maybe the same game on 2 or 3 different engines and see what the benefits are. Like something that takes you, say, I don't know, a day. Take 1 day with each engine to make one little thing. Something like that. And dig in on the ones that you think, okay, I want to make something with this. Or maybe you like that, you can have something that runs on, the end benefit of Three.js is that it can run on any device with a browser. So, just a click and you don't have to be on an app store. You see, you can have a website, you click on the app on the website, you can use SEO just for people finding your game. You see what I mean? And people will be playing your game there. And you don't need to rely on paying 30% to Google Play or to Apple, or anything. But yeah, it depends. Or to Steam. I don't know. You can also use that as a leverage, but I don't know. It depends on you. It would definitely be a great idea for me, since I work with TypeScript and C# has kind of been left behind. I've only been working with TypeScript for 5 years. Then, well, if you've been working with TypeScript, can you already use TypeScript? Okay. Now, have you been making games before? That's the main question, because the main question, because it's one thing to program with TypeScript. It's another thing to program games with TypeScript, right? Game programming in general, it's a different beast. So knowing how to use that and learning the basic concept and seeing, okay, do I know how to do this? Do I know the basics, and can I rely on my skill set to do this? Then what you do is, okay, you decide with a few little examples. You decide, okay, this is where I'm going towards. But I would recommend that you grab Three.js and you try and stress test it a little bit. Try to see what kinds of optimizations you can do. But in general, graphical optimizations, even with Unity, don't come from the engine itself, but from the assets, right? So on the asset side, how are you producing your assets? If you're producing assets that have 1,000 materials, you're gonna have 1,000 draw calls, right? And and that's gonna be a mess. So maybe, you know, the same optimizations that work in Unity, they work in Three.js. Like for instance, using atlas maps, right? So, if you're gonna have a bunch of textures, you use one you use one material that has, you know, already the map, they are already mapped, you know, the assets, all the meshes are already mapped, and now you have to simply change the texture. You know, you use one material per object, and then the same texture, you know, for everything. So that's a massive optimization. So I would highly recommend going for something like that, even if you're using Unity, right? But if you try the same thing in both engines, right, and the most optimized way, what you're going to find is that in the browser, Three.js is always going to work better. So the question with Three.js is, do you want it to run on the browser with any device? Then it's always going to be better with Three.js. Do you want it to run, you know, if your goal is for it to be the, you know, the best game it can be on a computer, right? Well, then, you know, just make a computer game, you know, and that's, you know, I think that's the case, right? I really work with games, but I have a private server with more than 3,000 players. But as you know, private servers are limited. Yeah, the server is from Moo, and yeah, an old game. Yeah, I know Moo, and it was part of my childhood. But I want to make my low poly version. Well, low poly. Yeah, I mean, what can I tell you? If you're gonna make a low poly version of Moo, I think I used to play Conquer. I don't know if you know Conquer. I kind of got late there, but I was I would play Conquer a lot with my friend. Conquer Online. If someone, I'm not talking about Command and Conquer. When I tell people Conquer, people think I'm talking about Command and Conquer. I'm talking about Conquer Online, and it was a lot, you know. It was like kind of like Moo, you know. It was people were coming from Moo to play Conquer and things like that, and so I knew Moo, but I never really played it as much as I played Conquer. And yeah, you could 100% make a low poly version of Moo, like, yeah, in Three.js, 1000%. Nicolas Lordkipanidze. Did I say it correctly, Nicolas? Yeah, Nicolas Lordkipanidze. I think that's the correct way to say it, but please let me know. Thank you for being here, by the way, and thank you for your questions, Quasi Dev. JavaScript versus TypeScript. Which one do you like more? I do like TypeScript for my own personal development in general. The question is not really I think about I'm always using JavaScript, right? But that's my thing with with that question. When I'm using TypeScript, I know that I'm using JavaScript, right? So I'm very aware of that. I would say that TypeScript is just JavaScript with types. So it's not that saying that I like TypeScript doesn't mean that I like JavaScript less. I think I like using JavaScript with TypeScript. I think that's the best way to describe it, because you can't separate both of them. You can't, if you're looking at TypeScript like, oh, I prefer this over JavaScript, I think you're separating it generates like a dichotomy, you know. It's like one versus the other one. It's actually just one and the other. You know, you can't separate. If you separate the JavaScript from the TypeScript and you say, oh, I'm using TypeScript now, and then you forget about the JavaScript, you kind of, I think you'll be in trouble. So staying always in line with that in your mind, that okay, I'm using JavaScript. I'm only adding types and giving myself, a new tool set to have more reliability, you know, in my own code to, you know, go around and not have to be checking if my types are correct. You know, if I'm passing in the correct object of the correct type, this function and that other place. You know, having a very nice, very good compiler, you know, that's great in general. Unless you have like this massive project that's just too slow to compile, which, you know, happens to some bigger companies. Generally, it's a much better option, I think. But hey, it depends. I think once you go into TypeScript, to using JavaScript with TypeScript, right? You general don't look back. That's been my experience with people who, you know, hated TypeScript like myself, and then went into TypeScript and were like, oh, can't live without this now. Yeah, that will be my long answer, I think. But happy to give more details if you want. Quasium Dev saying, I will study the engine and make some prototypes. Great. Let me know if you need any help. By the way, yeah, you can use Three.js by itself, or you can use it with Rogue Engine like I'm doing, right? But you know, to have like an editor like this, like with Unity. But yeah, I mean, you're free to, you know, use it however you want. I would say that, you know, this will give you a more similar experience to that as with Unity, and, you know, yeah, with components and sort of an opinionated way of using Three.js, you know, without any blockers, because you can still use Three.js as you will, you know, you're just using it in components. Yeah. Nicolo's saying, I think TypeScript as for a development tool because it still compiles to JS at the end. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's not really a yeah, it's just a superset, right? It's just a superset. So it's yeah. I don't even consider it a language, right? It's because the language itself is JavaScript. It's just adding some things on top. Yeah, I like that description. Quasi is saying, you know, simple explanations. TypeScript would be JavaScript with superpowers. That's also a good, I think, description of it. Sort of like helpers with JavaScript. You know, it's just helping you notice things before they hit you in the head. You know, with I'm bald, so, you know, when it hits in the head, it just hits harder. You know, so you know, you have to be careful with that. Lacerations. It's hard. Yeah, you lose your hair running around debugging errors, you know, and then just finding out it's a stupid type that you missed, and they say, "Oh, look at this." It would have been such a pain if I didn't have TypeScript. Yeah. Once you realize that, it's after a few times you go, "Oh, I couldn't have done this without TypeScript. It would have taken me a while to figure this out without TypeScript." And then you just don't look back and you're just using TypeScript. I think that's the case for most people who use TypeScript. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you're using JavaScript, here's the thing. I think if you're using JavaScript, you should use it with TypeScript. It's the best way to use JavaScript is with TypeScript. But you should know that you're using JavaScript. You're not a better developer. And alright, you know, no, you're just using JavaScript with TypeScript. It's not a better language. It's just JavaScript that, you know, helps you out a little bit. But hey, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. No, it has problems. Yes. Yeah. It's built by adults. I think it's built by adults, by responsible adults. Who take care of their child quite kind of, you know, it's grown a bit nice and ugly in parts, but hey, it's nice. It's functional and cool in some way. But yeah, let's see here. So okay, what we were doing here was we were instantiating our objects, and we're instantiating it directly in the position that we are creating, like directly in the spawn point that we're getting. But maybe we should like maybe we should instantiate them at the position of the spawn tower, and make them move to that position. Now the thing is, I like that this spawn tower thing, this barracks thing, is sort of like a teleporter. I like that idea because we have robots. But if these weren't robots, like this was a like more of a sort of actual barrack, you know, for a say you have like these little soldiers that you're spawning out of, because in this case, you know, it's just spawning there like that, right? This makes sense. We could make like an animation, like they're spawning, like, you know, that would be cool. We could add that, but we could also just make them run out of the thing, like, you know, they're actually just coming out of the out of a door from this thing or something like that. I don't know. It really helps to our current situation, and to most cases, to just make them walk out. So we're going to do that, because this is too specific. Just making them teleport, just making them appear in the place, I think is less useful for our current situation. So let's do that. Okay, let's do a yeah, let's do this, and we're going to look at the like the waypoint, the place that our the minions are going towards, or we're going to look either at the waypoint, but they could not have a waypoint. They may not have a current waypoint. If they don't have a current waypoint, we will look at their position, and we're going to move, you know, we're going to move somewhere else, right? It's different to their current position. So that's what we're going to do. So instead of looking at, you know, this is what I'm talking about, right? Instead of looking at other minion dot object read dot position, we're going to look at other minion dot current waypoint, right? Dot. So sorry, let's do it like this. Okay. Other minion dot current waypoint dot position, right? So it could be, this could be on the fine, so let's put it like this, or, right? We could just put this in a variable and say boss, and it's like this. Yeah. So this would be the position we are trying to distance ourselves. We're trying to distance ourselves from a relative position that we could be going towards, right? So this is the position that all the minions going to. It's not the position it's in right now, unless it's it doesn't have like a current waypoint. It could come bite us in the arse, this, but I don't know. Let's try it out. Yeah, because I'm thinking like if it's fighting, if it's going on a fight, then I need, you know, yeah, but I don't care. Right now, I think this is going to work. So what we're going to do is, when we spawn a minion, right now we're instantiating it, we're looking for the spawn point directly, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to simply grab our minion, right? Sorry, instance dot position dot copy. This is going to be, no, we're going to do this dot object 3D. So this is the tower, this is the pawn tower. So we're going to do get world position. We're copying it at instance position. Okay, so we're copying the world position of our object 3D of the tower itself to the position of the instance, right, of the minion that we've just instantiated. This will put that minion in the position of the tower. Now we're telling it what its spawn position is, right? So where it should be going to when it spawns, right? So the assembly point. So let's call it that. Let's say get assembly point. I don't know if that's how you write it. I really don't know. I don't care right now, but it would be interesting to know how it's spelled. So if you have any objections with that spelling, please let me know if that makes any sense or not. English is not my mother language, so bear with me. And I'm trying. Can't blame me for trying. Okay, just bear with me. Bear with me, said the hunter. All right. So we get in the assembly point. We're moving around. The position we need to go. And we're saying spawn point. Get world position. Yeah. Okay. So we get in the position of the spawn point. And we're going to call it assembly point. We're just going to call it assembly point. I think that's the right way to call it. Yeah, we're going to change the name of it. So we're going to need to reassign it probably. We're going to call it the assembly point. Because it's not really a spawn point in it. It's more like a assembly flag. But I can't think of the right word to use for that. It's not assembly. You say it's a bit of a weird word to use for this, right? It's assembly. It's like, I don't know. It's assembly. Really, it's like it sounds so ensembled. It just feels weird. Feels dirty. All right. So we're going to call it. We're going to get the position of the assembly point in the minion. This is what we're doing. We're just copying the position of the assembly point here, and then we're moving it around. That's what we're doing in this case. But what we need to do actually is something different. Look at what we're going to do. We're going to do a very weird thing here. We're going to come into the minion and we're going to look at waypoints. Oh, right. This is an object. This is the object 3D. I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, I know. We know what it is, so we should use that. Let's use that. Okay. So we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to make this a minion. We know it's going to be a minion every time. So we're going to use that, okay? So we're going to say const minion equals, yeah, we'll do it at the very top here. And we're going to do exactly this, right? And we're going to say minion here. Let me put this here. Oh no, not that. There. And here we're going to say instance. No, here we're going to say minion, right? And yeah, that's that. And here we're going to say, instead of moving the minion around, what we want to be moving is the current waypoint. So we don't really need the minion. What we need is the waypoint object. So we need the waypoint. So yeah. Yeah, this is not a minion. This is a... right. So we use... Yeah. Everywhere there's a minion, we're just going to move the waypoint around. Yeah, of course it's not me. Yeah, I know that. This is a problem. Yeah, this is a problem. Oh. Yeah, no, it's current waypoint. That's the one. Yeah. If our current waypoint, yeah. So if it's the same current waypoint, we continue, we go around. Yeah, okay, because it's a current waypoint that we're looking at. So that's the one thing. That's the thing we want to move around. So should this be a minion? I don't know. Should this be a minion which is using the waypoint itself? Okay. So when we spawn a minion, we are giving it a waypoint. And we're telling it, go there. Go there. Go fight. Fight for your life. The point is, in the case of these minions, when they stop fighting, they should lose the waypoint. Because I'm stuck now there thinking that, remember that we did with the, if you were here before, we did something with the waypoints where, the minions are just running around, they keep the waypoints, right? They start fighting and they keep the waypoints. But the minions are defending their ground. They should be, okay, I find them, I'm coming out, I have a waypoint there. I'm coming out towards that waypoint. I find an enemy. I start fighting. When I end the fight, I don't run towards that waypoint again, right? So I should, the moment we start fighting, I think that waypoint should be gone until I set it again, right? So the moment you start fighting, you lose the waypoint. In the case of the these minions, these weird minions, these defensive minions that we have. So yeah, that's a good one thing that we need to sort of figure out. So, should we make a minion? Should we make it a... Let's see. Let's make it a minion. Okay. And we'll say, dot current waypoint, right? So we're just going to move the current waypoint, right? Current waypoint, yeah, this is what we're going to do. Dot position, sorry, yeah, dot position. I forget that it's an object ready. So that makes it harder, but yeah, this makes it easier to work with this thing. So yeah, we don't need to get the object 3D there. That's a bit of decluttering there, and yeah, and this would be the current waypoint dot position, yeah. And position would be our current waypoint. Yeah, no, this is the other minion. So this is, we're talking about here the things that are about this minion. Okay, so this is just trying to figure out a way to know, where the other minions that are part of this tower go, right? This tower knows, this spawn tower knows where the other minions are, right? Where its other child minions are, it's unit. Quasium Dev saying it would be cool to have an MCP server with engine documentation. Yeah. What we have is a right now the documentation that we have, the stuff that we have is for is for multisync. Multisync is it's serverless in a way, right? Because, well, it has a server, but it's a decentralized server, right? So it's decentralized networking, basically. So that's the networking service that we've been working with. We're working with multisync. It's really great because it's for a fraction of the price. You get to do all these things. Now they're working on some really cool stuff there. So I would recommend checking that out. You have if you look in the YouTube channel, if you look, like, you're on YouTube. So if you look in going to my YouTube channel there, you see there's a multisync Croquet. Croquet is the name of the package. So there's a row croquet package that we've set up, and you can do networking where you don't need any sort of what do you say, server yourself. You don't need to handle anything. You can do everything front end, and in a and you can structure it in a way that is also authoritative. So you don't need to rely on a server itself to be authoritative, because everything needs to be synchronized. Since all the clients need to be the same for them to be synchronized, then you can't have synchronization with a hacked client. You see what I mean? So if a client is, tricking, is doing, is playing tricks, they simply wouldn't be synchronized to the network. You see what I mean? So it works doing, this sort of checksum or something, So it's interesting. It's very cool. It's research that's been done by some great people, like the original croquet was developed by Alan Kay, I think. So it's talking about father of the personal computer, basically. So I don't know, some awesome people there, running, David Smith, all these crazy awesome people. So yeah, I would check it out. But yeah, you can also use, I don't know, you want all the kinds of server, you can use Coliseus, Coliseus is great as well. And yeah, you have all these other options too, that you can use. The idea about Rogue Engine is that you have a bunch of different things that you have a bunch of things you can use, a bunch of options, and you can adopt it into Three.js. And just as you can adopt them into Three.js, you can adopt it in Rogue Engine very easily. So that's, something you have like a documented. Anyone who has used any of these with Three.js, you can use the same way to Rogue Engine, because it's just, at the end of the day, you just come here, you grab your terminal, and this is, this is just a look, I'm going to show you here. Better yet. This is just an npm project, right? So this is what it is, right? It's just an npm project. So you just come here and install something you want, and it'll work. So you don't need to do much. It's just install things you need, and that's it. Yeah. So what we're going to do now then is, so what we're moving is not the position of the object. It's the position. It's not the position of the minion. Sorry, it's the position of the waypoint. That's what we're moving around. And when we're comparing against, is the position of the waypoint of the other minion. And when we're spawning, here's a problem. We need to make sure that we have a current waypoint. And so what we do is we say if minion, this is why we need the minion. Minion current waypoint. So first thing we do is if minion dot target enemies dot length is greater than 0. So we have enemies. We get away from here. We don't care. If well, this would be not get, right? It would be set assembly point. Yeah, this is setting. This is not getting anything. This is setting the assembly point. Yeah. And so if we have more than one enemy, right? More than 0 enemies. So we have an enemy. We don't want to be here. We don't care because we have enemies, and we know the minion is going to be moving towards that enemy. So we don't set up. We don't care about that. But if we don't have any enemies, minion dot current waypoint is going to I'm talking about the minion, right? If the minion doesn't have any enemies, all right, it doesn't have enemies in range that it can fight, then we go away. If the minion doesn't have a waypoint, right, doesn't have a current waypoint, then we do minion dot waypoints dot push right? And that's where we add the waypoint, which is new object 3D. New 3.object 3D, and this will be our waypoint that we're going to be adding, and the waypoint that we're going to be using. This is going to be curve waypoint. Basically, it's waypoint 0. Yeah. So this is what we're going to do. Basically, we're just going to grab the waypoint and say, go there. So instantiating it where the tower is, right? Beginning the tower position and instantiating it there, and then we're telling it move to a new position that is far away from the position where all the minions are going to, right? So that's what we're doing. Let's try it out. We're gonna need to reset the assembly point because we changed the name. So yeah, it's probably broken, that thing, innit? So it's just gonna change the name of it. Where is it? Yeah, we need to grab this thing and bring it here. There you go. Assembly point. There you go. Save this now and come here. We hit play. Oh, they're just staying there. They're not moving. Why aren't they moving? Do you have any errors? No. Question that I'm saying, do you think it would be a good idea to hire a studio just to model and animate everything, or train someone on the team? We don't have anyone with that ability yet, and there are only 4 of us. Well, why don't you hire someone who can do all these things for you? Because the problem with hiring a studio for that, I mean, you could hire an independent studio, right? And yeah, you can either partner with an artist, right, and say, okay, here, we have 5 people in the studio, and one of them is an artist, and they're gonna have a lot of work to do if there's just one artist, 1 or 2 artists. Because game is all about what you show, right? You're gonna need particles, you're gonna need all sorts of images, like texturing any kind of terrain. You're talking about a Mu kind of game, right? So you need terrain, you need the enemies, you need your and you need very specific things. So going back and forth with a studio that is not focused on you could be a problem. So I don't know if I would outsource it. I think I would definitely, if you're thinking about seriously making a game and you have 4 people to make the game, I would just partner with a developer, hire a developer, designer, someone who is actually going to, be the vision, give someone ownership of the art of the game, how it's going to look. Tell them what the restrictions are, in the graphic wise, and hire someone, hire that artist to carry out that vision. Tell them what the limitations are, and within the boundaries of that limitation, what they can pull off, and they will bring you the best possible assets for that sort of limitation. So someone who can build low poly assets that are optimized, with atlas maps, baked lights, things like that, one material, not, those people are just dropping 1,000 materials with lists of materials. That's a problem in Three.js. So telling them these things instead of going to a studio, go back and forth saying, please, can you, make it an atlas map, 1 material per object, and this having someone in your team who can just quickly go in and modify objects, bring you a new version, and do things like that. That's a superpower in game development, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't outsource it to anyone. Think if you cut ties with that studio, what's gonna happen to your game? You know, what happens to the artistic vision of your game? Games are very much about art. Mostly if you're thinking about making a big game where there's going to be 4 devs involved doing all sorts of things, I don't know if I would just outsource art. Yeah, unless, you know, you have people who can actually think on their feet, you know, grab Blender and start doing things, you know. I would definitely just get an artist who's, you know, good at it, and we can help you out, you know, optimize things and make something beautiful. Yeah, that's what I would do, 100%. But yeah, I don't know. It depends on your budget too, and you know what the prospects are. And finding an artist, of course, there are many artists without jobs right now who'd be, you know, if you're offering them a job, they'll be more than glad to join you, 100%. So yeah, I'll look into that. Okay, I've been seeing problems here with the miniatures. For some reason, some of these are showing me different things. Shouldn't be here. Why? Oh my god, I hate this sort of issues because they are stupid issues. There should be things that are already solved. There should be things that are not problems, but they are now. So now I have to face them. Yeah. Fuck it. All right. So. Like in this case, for instance, I know the scope of this is very small, so I'm using Quaternius assets. These are beautiful assets by Quaternius. If you can find like a good asset back that you really like, and you can call that artist, like I would call Quaternius and say, hey, Quaternius, can you make all the art for my game? You know, like I'll pay Quaternius, you know, to make the art for my game. And, you know, but if I could like hire Quaternius as part of my team, because I like his assets, like, you know, I would absolutely do that, you know. Like I would absolutely like tell Quaternius, hey, you know, these are my limitations, these are the things I need, this is the stuff, you know, and you know, I think he's called Paul, and you know, he's a great artist, you know, he's doing all these things for free, Creative Commons, you know, and all this amazing stuff. If you like his assets, you can hire him, and it's probably going to be a great asset to your team. So, you know, those sorts of artists who can, you know, who have been putting out things out there, you know, for a long time, and who can bring out, you know, these very well optimized, very nice assets. And you know, I'll tell them about the optimizations, limitations that you need for Three.js and things like that, you know, for any sort of game. Okay, let's keep going. So why isn't it moving? So we have the spawn point there. We have prefab, we have all that. So we are instantiating, but we're not moving. Why aren't we moving? We don't have any enemies. There are no errors. What we're going to do is you're going to log. We're going to log minion.current waypoint dot position. That's what we're going to log. Yeah, we're going to log that. We're going to see what's going on there. So they have a waypoint. They're just not moving towards it. Why? It's strange, isn't it? They have waypoints, we know that. State. Let's see the state they're in. Because if you have waypoints, like if you don't have enemies, and if you have waypoints, you should be moving. idle. Why are they idling? Why are they idling? What's going on with them? They just decide we're gonna idle. We're just gonna idle today. We just don't want to do anything. We just just chill. We're just chilling. We're just chilling. We're just being minions. We're just being happy minions. We don't need to do anything. What he wants to work, when he wants to move around, we want to fight. We want peace, we want world peace. We're just very peaceful minions. Just go fight. You go and fight the war. Why you want us to fight for you? That's there's some minions standing up by themselves. This is just the computers taking over. It's just insane, mate. No. We have to do something about this. We need these minions to behave and obey us. So we have a current waypoint. There is a current waypoint. Oh, because we need to tell it. But it's already at 0. Come on. It's already at 0. So we know the current waypoint exists and it's a 0. Yeah, okay. No, that's okay. So that's no problem. We know we have waypoints here. So what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? Why isn't it moving? And why is it in an idle state? Why are they in idle state? This is the weird thing. They shouldn't be in idle state. Because there is a waypoint. So they should be moving. They're selecting state. On every frame, they're selecting state. For some reason, they're deciding, we're just gonna idle. We're just gonna idle. We're just gonna be here. We're not gonna move. Fuck you, bearded bald guy. Knee head. It's not right. That's not right. It's not way to treat overlords. It's not right. Okay. Why are you idling? Why are you idling? Someone knows why they are idling. Please let me know, because I don't know. So, we're spawning. We're letting them know what the new waypoint is. Telling these minions how to behave. These minions don't have enemies. These minions are safe with no enemies. And yet, they decide to behave this way. We're just gonna pick up the minion themselves, and we're gonna check out. Yeah, because now when I open them, we're gonna see actually if they have enemies or not. We're gonna if they have a current waypoint. Sorry, what state they're in. Actually, because yeah, they're in a state idle. Yeah, they're in idle state. Yeah, okay, they're in idle state. Yeah, okay. They're not even finding them to fight. You look at that. They can't even fight from where they are. Okay. That's funny. All right. So what's the problem? They should be coming in here. Okay. Let's see. So Hmm. I'm baffled by this. This is mysterious. This is mysterious. Someone's watching this. Can tell me, please, what's going on? If you know. Because I don't know what's going on. I am just as lost as you are. Probably more. Probably more, yeah. Probably more, because should be working. Something stupid. Usually it's something stupid. I'm going, this is what it was. You know. How can I be such an idiot? And that's how it usually goes. So if there is a current waypoint, it should be in if there is a current waypoint, it should go into move mode, right? We know we have a current waypoint. So why are you not going into move mode? Why are you still an idle? That's the strange thing, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to be debugging this. We'll see what's going on. We'll say that if this dot type equals friendly, we'll say console.log this dot current waypoint, right? Yeah. Or maybe what we'll do is simply say, we're simply going to, we're simply coming here and saying, log your waypoint if you're friendly, right? For friendly, just log your waypoint, just to see if they are coming in there at any point in time. Okay, they're going in there. Yeah, but they're changing the state then. So they're changing to idle. At some point, they're saying like, oh no, we're changing to idle now. So we're going to say like this. We're going to say changed like that, right? So let's see. Look at that. So they come in. They say, okay, we changed it like that way, and they come here then and say changed. So they first say they're moving, and then for some reason the current waypoint goes away. Okay, so we're losing the current waypoint because we're losing the waypoints probably, right? So we're just removing waypoints. Probably what's going on. We're just cleaning up waypoints. So okay. Go to next waypoint. Is going waypoints. And this the current waypoints. The length equals 0 return, right? If current waypoint index is greater than waypoints or length, so if the current waypoint index, so if we have 1 and the length is, so this is not, it shouldn't be coming in here. This is the place where it's being cleaned up. That's what I mean, right? So this is a place where it's being cleaned up. Actually cleaned up, like just removing the waypoint, just losing it. But yeah, think about this. Like at this point, which are your waypoints, right? What are your waypoints? It does have a waypoint. You see that, right? It does have a waypoint. It's just that current waypoint is not there. Current waypoint index. Oh, current waypoint index is 1. So it thinks that it's already been there in the current waypoint. Oh, right. So it thinks... that's strange. It thinks that it's already in current waypoint. Why? Why would it be in current waypoint? So we're moving to the... Oh, because our current waypoint is the place we're in. And we go into the next waypoint. Right. That's why it doesn't work. Because we need an origin and a place we go to. Yeah, but that's shit. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I'm not a fan of that. Because I would like to like set up waypoints in a way that I can simply say what's the next player should be going. And yeah, not in this way. But let's look at it that way. Okay, let's do it that way. Why not? Let's yeah, let's do it that way. Let's say yeah. I don't like this at all. No. I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. It's too confusing. It's too confusing. So it should be moving. Yeah. It should be moving to the waypoint, like to the current waypoint. Current waypoint in this case is 0, right? So we start at 0. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that the waypoints are like, okay, 0 is where I am. 1 is where I'm going. 2 is the other place I'm going. 3 is the other place. Yeah. Yeah, it should be 0 is the first place I'm going to, I think. Because the origin is where I'm at right now. That's why that's how it should be, I think. Otherwise, it complicates things a lot, because then when I set you up here, like when I set up the position here, right? And I'm relying on this being like there being nothing here to set up a waypoint for you here, right? That's where I'm relying on. But yeah, let's do that shit. Let's do this, okay? Yeah, so if you don't have any waypoints, yeah, but then it's not the current waypoint, it's the next waypoint. That's my problem with this. The current waypoint is the one where we say, okay, what we're here, and now we say, okay, this is we're in 0 right now, and now we have to go to 1. But why do we decide to go to 1? Well, yeah, no, I don't like this. Yeah, so we're going to just do it that way. We should be moving to from where we are to point 0, 1, 2, 3. That's what we should be doing. We should be the origin of the line, not 0. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. And this is, but I think it's the proper way to decide, because we can use 0 as the waypoint, the place we're going. I think. I don't know. Maybe it's because of origin. Maybe if we set up origin correctly, it works. Maybe, I don't know. Right, because we don't have origin. We don't have an origin. We need an origin. Let's decide. Let's set up origin then. Let's try just setting up origin. It may just work by setting up origin. So we do. Yeah, we just come here and say. When we set up the waypoint, we say minion the origin copy minion the object 3D the position. Right, so we copied our current position as the origin. That's not working still, is it? Yeah, I know. Because here's the deal, right? The problem with this is that we can see it here. We can actually see it here. So, can we actually see it? Yeah. No, we don't have the. Yeah, no, we don't have the thing there. But no, okay. Doesn't matter. The point is that it's okay to set up our origin, like where we going from, where we're starting from, but there's something else going on here. There's something else going wrong. And yeah, because we're saying what distance from origin is. So distance from origin, we're saying that if the distance from origin is greater or equal to the of the distance from origin to waypoint. So this is not the case. It shouldn't be going to the next waypoint. No, never. Never. It should never be doing this. No. Because we're already telling it where waypoint goes. And as we set up the waypoint, we're telling it to use like the minion's position itself, right? The position of the minion itself to define the origin. So it should never be going to the next waypoint unless it actually unless it actually gets there. So what we're going to do is, we're going to come here. We're going to come here to go to next waypoint. And if we come here, we're going to check distance from origin, distance to origin, distance from origin to waypoint, so that we can see what's going on here. Because this is strange. This is so strange. Like this should never be happening. So let's check it out. It's never getting there. No. So distance to origin Yeah, our friendlies are never getting here. So they're never changing positions. They don't have any enemies, so they're coming in here definitely. A current waypoint. Is it the current waypoint of the enemy? Alright, so this is fine. It's already trying to move forward. Because it's moving, so it's already trying to move forward there. Like the first time it comes in here. Why is it coming in here? Let's see if it ever reaches this part. Console. Okay, let's do, sorry. Let's check if it's friendly. Just say here. If it's a friendly, we're going to just do, just going to log moving. That's it. And we'll see what's going on here. It's never even reaching that. What? No. But if it comes here once, right? Because that's the point. If it comes here once, well, it's not. No, it's not. It's not actually. No. It's never actually even reaching this part. No, 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 no. It doesn't make any sense though. When is it changing from 0 to 1? That's the part that's weird. Like, when is it changing from 0 to 1? When is current waypoint index changing from 0 to 1? Just in going to next waypoint, right? Go to next waypoint. Okay, we're doing that on the start. Fucking hell. Fucking hell, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, so we go next waypoint right at the beginning. That's the problem. We shouldn't be letting it do this. Yeah. There you go. And it works just fine. Yeah. Okay, now when we change the position of the of the spawn point. That was a stupid mistake. Oh my god. Now so now when we change the position of the spawn point, like set assembly point out, it's not a spawn point anymore, right? It's a spawn point. It's a assembly point. So when we change it, where are we setting it? We're setting it. Move spawn point, saying move assembly point. And what we're doing is when we change it, which would be here, right? We'd set in the new position. So we should say this dot yeah, we should run it. Yeah, we should run it for every one of them like that. Just do this dot minions dot for each minion. This dot set assembly point minion. There you go. So when we change it, we change the new assembly point for the minions like that, right? So they're coming here like that. Oh, nice. Okay. And now if we move it, they move. There you go. How cool is that? Oh, come here and fight. Come here and fight. There you go. Fight to the death. But now they're not doing anything. You see, they're not doing anything because there you go. Fight. I like this. All right. Yeah. This is really cool. This is really, really cool. All right. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone's even watching this. It's like probably one person watching this. I don't know. This is really cool. It's really cool now. This is taking shape right now. I love this. I love this so much. You see, struggle. There's a struggle here going on, right? It's a true struggle. But then, you know, when you finally get there, it's like, oh, right, this is nice. So yeah, let's change the let's create a variable for this because I don't really like the spread. The spread, I think it's too spread out. So we should probably make this something like what should we make it? Something like 3 or something like that. Let's give it a name. Let's give it a name. Let's put a name to it. Let's call it what should we call it? Wow, spawn or assembly position gap. RE num assembly pos gap, or just call it gap. I just put 3. Just say assembly gap. Just call assembly gap. And it's just, you know, distance between the objects. I don't know if it's the right term to use, honestly, but I don't care anymore. Just gonna use that, and yeah. And we're using 0.4 here, but it's a ratio. It's just a ratio, isn't it? Yeah, let's use that. All right, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, you see how they just forget they need to go somewhere? And if we put it here, right, they're just going to come and fight. You see how they don't come here? They go in and fight because they find the enemies first and they fight with these enemies. Right, so they will fight with the enemies. Problem is that when this is over, I think they're just going to come here. I think they should stay where they are, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not the expert here. Yeah, they'll come here. Okay, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But I love that this works. I mean, it's so fantastic. It's amazing that this works. I love it. It's a little fun to watch. It's so much fun to watch. And we should have the other, like the enemy minions should have a yeah, the enemy minions should have some kind of a spread position so that the fights can be more interesting. Like we can make fights actually very, very interesting if we have like a gap, like a little gap between them as well. So we could use the same algorithm, like the same thing we did with these minions to like spread them out. We should do the same with the with the other minions. Also because we could sort of instantiate them like have like a 3 at a time or something like that, you know. So we could actually instantiate them, you know, say, okay, if we instantiate more than 1 at a time, we should put them like spread out positions, and that would be cool. That would be nice. So we could have like, say, in a 3 minions, yeah, with between 3 minions, we should have like, say, three at a time, no more than 3 at a time, but you have a list of 10 in a wave, and you know, where, yeah, it's just gonna spawn 10, but no more than 3 at a time. So you have like 3 sort of spread out in positions. That would be cool. That would be nice. Okay, I'm happy with this. I think we're a bit over time. I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy with this. I think this is coming out really cool. I'm so sorry for everyone who just wasn't here before. But oh, we have someone here. Look, Oliver Metz just joined. I'm normally used to Unity and C#, but currently learning backend development, etc. How does Three.js hold up? Great question, Oliver. Thanks for being here. Well, Three.js, I think it depends on your scope, right? What's the scope of your project? If you're using Unity for like, say, to make web games, right? To make things that or games, mobile games maybe, right? Games you expect to run on any device. The key here with Three.js is that it will run exactly the same on every browser. So you don't really need to rely on it being iOS or it being, you know, any modern browser will run Three.js in a great way. Graphically, it's amazing. If you're going to target the web, Three.js, sorry, Three.js is the go-to engine. Definitely is the go-to platform. Now, if you it gives you a lot of control. It helps you out a lot, and it helps you reach out a bunch of people, right? You don't need to rely on the marketplaces and all that, which is fantastic. Then there's also the fact that, okay, if you want to make a AAA game, like sort of a, say, I don't know, if you're going to make GTA 5, well, you just, you know, probably not going to be able to. But anything, you know, regular mobile games, like I think 99% of them, like the regular mobile games you see around, you can make them 100% on Three.js and they'll work amazing. You know, I recommend going into the, go to the examples, work into the IO, go to the examples and run it on your browser, you know, on a mobile phone. You can also like if you, like while I'm developing this, I can grab like this IP here. This is the local network, you know. There's no public IP or anything. It's just local for my network, and I can grab this, like just type it in my phone. They can go there and play this game right on my phone. So that's really cool, right? And I can test it because it's just a web page running on a local server. So yeah, that's super cool, I think. And you know, there are so many JavaScript, TypeScript devs out there. You can, you know, get a bunch of people to code for that as well, you know. And the training is not that hard actually. And mostly if you're using like something like Rogue Engine that gives you like a little framework to work around, you know, where it's easier to kind of have your components like this. You know, you can have people even that are not very code savvy, you know, like artists who can come here and drag and drop things, work around with this, with assets. So I very much recommend that you give it a shot. I would highly recommend trying out, you know, something like a little project, yeah, and doing something with it. By the way, I see that you commented this, like you commented this like at 9:06. I don't see your comment here. I don't see your comment there. Yeah, why don't I see your comment there? Like, what's going on with the comment section here? Something wrong with this? Is something wrong with this? What's going on here? I don't know. That was weird, right? I mean, it should be working, shouldn't it? I don't know. Yeah, let's leave it there. But let me know if you have any questions. By the way, if you want to use Rogue Engine, let me know. Let me see. By the way, if you want to use Rogue Engine, you can come into our server and to Discord, and if you need any help, there are a bunch of people there who can help you out as well. You have the Three.js community as well. They can be very helpful. They can help you out. I like to say that our community, our little community, our Rogue Engine community, is very, very friendly. It's very, very nice. Actually, great people there. Yeah, and if you want to join us there to just discuss and talk, the things you're building and all that, we'll be happy to have you there, because we are, just a few people there. It's happily building. And yeah, of course, first fan here of any game you're making. Everyone making games with Rogue Engine, you have a first fan 100% here. Yeah, that's a must. Saying Oliver Med saying, look, probably to show me the oh, there it is. I can see it there now. Yeah, I don't know. Strange. Or maybe you were showing me something else. But yeah, I can see the comment now. Yeah, brilliant. I don't know what happened. These things, they sometimes work, they sometimes don't. Who knows, But but yeah, I think it holds up really well. It depends on your scope, like I said, right? I think you should always the thing is, the same optimizations that we would do for Unity, for mobile, to work on any device, you would do with Three.js, which is, using Atlas maps, lowering the amount of materials and textures that you use, with the Atlas maps, baking your lights, doing all these things that you need for general mobile games, or games that you want to be used on any device, right? When I say mobile, I mean it in a very universal way, as in, mobile, as in put it anywhere, like how you say, portable, and multi-device, just you can literally run it anywhere that has a browser. And yeah, you can play around with these, like I give you here in Rogue Engine, I give you like a few things that you can play with, like the resolution and the aspect ratio, and you can play with the this will sort of help you play with the you can change the resolution and the renderer directly. Like, this is just a Three.js renderer, but I give you some functions there to play around and give you some utilities, right? So you can change the resolution, and what it will do is it will change the pixel ratio, so that say a bigger devices or small devices can change the quality of the game, depending on, if you have like a small device, maybe you have like a handheld device, you can run your game, with much less where you will need much less resources graphically. So I think it's the same sort of optimizations, it just depends on who your scope, who your target clientele, who your target users or players are. Depends a lot when you're building. And yeah, I think that's what kind of game it is. If it's a PC game and you want to make a PC game that's going to be run on a computer, and you want to maximum, that's all you care about, like maximum graphics, then yeah, don't use Three.js. Why use Three.js for that? That's not the scope of Three.js. But if you want a game that runs everywhere, go with Three.js, and if you want to go with Three.js, use Rogue Engine. I think it's the best way to use Three.js. But I'm very biased because I build it, although I build it for that purpose. So yeah. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I think we had a great amount of fun. We built some cool stuff, I'm so happy with this. I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play it again for you so you can see. Little flag there, a little minions going there. It's so nice, so smooth, so beautiful. Look at that, and they're coming here. It's just spraying about. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. It's so nice. Look at that. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. And now they come here and start fighting. Oh, I love it. I love it. And this one comes here and fights. This is just beautiful. And isn't this beautiful? And they're all fighting there. This is amazing. Now, yeah, we need to spread apart. The other one comes in. So cool. And we need to change the positionings of our minions there. But yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, we definitely need to create some ranged enemies as well. Like, I want to see how this will develop. Probably next we'll make the tower Tuesday. We're going to come back. We're going to make the towers. We're going to make them spawnable, because right now we have like, they're not spawnable, right? Like the guns, we can upgrade them like this, right? And yeah, and we have the energy weapon as well. Yeah, this one just kills them all at once. So we can make like a bunch of enemies, like actually make them a lot of enemies. And yeah, probably should make this one a lot less powerful. Probably too powerful. Some enemies that maybe should be a bit stronger. Some that should be a bit less, yeah, some ranged enemies, things like that. But yeah, we should make this one spawnable next, and then we'll focus on that, adding it to the menu, upgrades and all that, and then we'll focus on making like different types of enemies and spraying their position and making interesting fights, and we'll have a game like in no time. Now we have a really cool little engine here in no time, little tooling in very short time. I have Oliver saying, okay, sounds good. I will definitely take a look. Thank you for all your help. No problem, mate. No problem. Glad I could help. And yeah, always here to help. All right. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad we had this live tonight, because it was really, really good. Really, really, really good. Even though there was nobody there for like most of the live stream, I think I got to focus on making the game, and we made some great progress. We struggled a bit. We struggled quite a lot actually, yeah? But we solved some big problems that we had, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. I'm very, very happy with it, and I think we should next time we should have a really cool live stream as well. Tuesday, 7 p.m. GMT. As always, thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.